It's Kane from the penalty spot again. And there is his immortal moment. Harry Kane's 54th goal for England. And he is England's all-time record goal scorer.
Hello and welcome to this episode of The Lions Roar. My name is Francis and I'm joined by Hannah, James and Scarlett to look back on Harry Kane's career in an England shirt so far, as he reaches an incredible milestone.
Harry Kane became the all-time top goal scorer for the England men's national team in March 2023, scoring his 54th goal for his country and overtaking so many England legends in a remarkable international career to date.
Along the way, we'll hear from England fans celebrating Kane's achievement, as well as the thoughts of legendary commentator Clive Tyldesley, who we caught up with earlier this month.
The story begins at Wembley Stadium, 8 years before Kane's record-breaking goal.
Going to Wembley, obviously watching the game from the bench, the first half. When I ran on the pitch, the cheer was unbelievable.
Kane earned his first senior England call-up in March 2015, having already scored 29 goals for Tottenham in that season as he exploded onto the Premier League scene. At 21 years old, Kane was rapidly becoming one of the world's most lethal finishers, and his excellent club form immediately translated into the international level.
What Sterling can do here. There were so many players inside that penalty area. Sterling teased it up for Harry Kane! Barely been on the pitch, 2 minutes!
Just 79 seconds after being substituted on the pitch for his debut, Kane headed his first England goal into the Lithuanian net in front of 83,000 fans.
Boys' own stuff for Harry Kane on his debut. The chairman applauds and so does the captain. How about that for making your entrance? Terrific ball from the left and a fantastic header.
79 seconds later, I score a goal and at home for England at Wembley, and just the emotions were incredible. And after that, I just enjoyed every moment. I tried to do the best I can.
As if Kane's first England performance wasn't fateful enough, the player he came on for was the England captain at the time, Wayne Rooney, who had scored earlier in the game to edge closer towards breaking the goal-scoring record himself.
You've seen over the last couple of days that if you get the chance, he's a goal scorer, he can finish. So he's been excellent all season, and I think it's great for English football to have someone who's scoring goals the way he is.
Rooney's own England story is a powerful preface to Kane's journey of becoming an England goal-scoring legend. Over a decade prior to Kane's first England impact, Rooney's arrival onto the professional footballing scene as a teenager caused even more of a national shockwave.
Gravison forward. Rooney, instant control. Fancies his chances. Oh, brilliant goal! A brilliant goal! Remember the name, Wayne Rooney.
What do you make of Wayne Rooney? It's a special goal, wasn't it?
It's a special goal and a special talent. It's an English talent, the biggest English talent I've seen here since I'm in England.
As suggested there by Arsene Wenger, Rooney's talent appeared immeasurable at the beginning. For many years, England's hopes of international success lay on his shoulders, but one by one, the tournaments came and went without much of an English flourish, despite Rooney's best efforts.
Portugal are World Cup semi-finalists, and England, as usual, lose on a penalty shootout.
England have been buried here in Bloemfontein. It's finished Germany 4, England 1.
Organise a reshape here, and Suarez is in behind England. Suarez to win it. Suarez wins it surely.
By 2015, 12 years into his international career, Rooney was chasing down a much older record as Bobby Charlton had scored his 49th and final goal for England in 1970.
Peters, Charlton. 2, yes! 3-0, and the goalkeeper hardly moved to it.
Rooney's momentous day arrived 6 months after Kane's debut, again at Wembley.
It's time for Wayne Rooney. 50 up for England. For England's all-time leading goal scorer, it's Wayne Rooney's record breaker.
Yeah, Switzerland, the one to get the record. I was so nervous before the penalty. It's just because in my head I was always remember Guy Lineker.
Yeah.
He missed his penalty on 48 goals, and it was a similar feeling. Just thinking, please don't miss this.
His history-making 50th goal for England followed Kane's third in the same game and was appropriately celebrated by England fans and legends gone by.
You know, there's certain players that you play with throughout your career that you like playing with for different reasons. Wayne hits all those reasons.
I've played with many very, 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 very good footballers who are very talented, and you know, you see things that they do and you know, you're amazed by what they do, but then you have another bracket of players that are consistently top draw, that are, you know, in that world-class bracket, and Wayne's in there.
The brief three lines overlap between the two players continued for a few more games, but ended with despair in a disastrous Euro 2016 campaign in France. Kane had a poor tournament considering he'd finished the Premier League campaign with 25 goals and a golden boot. Bizarrely, England manager Roy Hodgson had Kane taking corners and other set pieces instead of poaching goals in the penalty box.
At the end of the day, we was in training and I was putting in deliveries, and the manager wanted me to take them. He thought I was the best player to take them, and at the end of the day, I'm very much a team player. I'll do what the manager said.
Having scraped through a weak group stage, England suffered a humiliating defeat to Iceland in the round of 16.
Kane with the corner. It's towards Joe Hart, and if anything, he jumped up in front of Ali. England are out. It's another wretched night for England at a major tournament. It's difficult to think of anything quite as humbling as this defeat. Certainly in living memory.
We spoke to ITV's England commentator Clive Tyldesley, who shared his thoughts on the game.
It is life in a glass cage, and when you become an England player, that the glass is magnified glass. It's not smoked glass where you've got to peer to look in. It's right there in your face, and the England players know that. And I think probably that, going back to that Iceland game, we had England had some really, really good players on the field that night. Really good technical players, much better than their opponents. But they didn't perform to a level which would enable them to win the game. And you could almost see the bubbles coming out of their head that, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, because the headlines tomorrow are going to be savage and I'm going to be part of them.
Rooney was arguably England's best overall performer in the tournament, scoring his final goal for England early in that game. But the defeat heralded a symbolic changing of the guard.
Well, that was the worst performance I've ever seen from an England team, ever. From start to finish from the game. We were out-fought, we were out-thought, we were out-battled, and we were totally hopeless for 90 minutes. It looked to me as if Roy was making it up as he was going along. He didn't have a system, he didn't know his best players.
Tactically inept?
Tactically inept. So we can go on and on. Harry Kane on corners in the first game. I mean, the list is endless, Gary. It's from start to finish, I think it has been pretty hopeless.
Hodgson immediately resigned following the game, and Rooney's England career only continued for a handful of cameo appearances.
Wayne Rooney has just announced his retirement from international football. The Everton striker is England's all-time leading scorer with 53 goals in 119 appearances.
I enjoyed every minute of it, and I've had a great career. I enjoyed every minute, some ups, some downs. But I wouldn't change anything I've done in my career as a player, and hopefully I can start now to write some history and have a successful managerial career.
I think a good moment to recognise what an outstanding player he's been for England. You know, I see some debate around, is he a legend or isn't he? Well, if you're the most capped outfield player and you're the record goal scorer, I'm not quite sure what else you have to do to be a legend. So he's been somebody that served England brilliantly and with enormous pride. And I know this was still a difficult decision for him.
The end of one superstar's international career handed the baton of England talisman to another.
Trippier's outswinger. Maguire, Kane! Has stolen it at the death! That's what he's there for! England's main man!
England returned to tournament football in Russia for the 2018 World Cup, where Kane led the reignition of England optimism and pride with 6 goals as the Three Lions reached the semi-finals for only the 3rd time in the men's national team's tournament history.
Unleashes one with the left foot and it takes a deflection and in off Harry Kane. Only the 3rd English player to score a hat-trick at a World Cup finals.
England win a penalty shootout in the World Cup for the first time ever. I was supposed to. Yeah, that was emotionally draining. I know everybody around England in the UK, wherever they are supporting England, will feel that. England have won a penalty shootout.
Now the England captain, taking over Rooney's mantle, Kane scored for fun in the following campaign to reach the 2020 European Championships. With Gareth Southgate now as the manager, this tournament, which was delayed until 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, represented England's best chance in decades to win silverware.
Of all the 20-odd people that I've had contact with who've managed the England football team, some of them temporarily, he is the best man for the job. And I go on to say, I can't tell you who's the best coach, I can't tell you who's the best manager, etc., etc. But in terms of a man for all seasons, a man for all reasons, a man for all aspects of the job, there is no doubt in my mind that we are in as safer hands as we can possibly be with what is a very, very fragile commodity, the England national football team. And, I qualify that not just because he's very intelligent and very thoughtful. And so therefore he can converse with the media and with the public. But I think he's mindful of the pressures on young footballers. Those pressures were intensified really as they were on all young people during all the COVID restrictions.
After a personally slow start for England's number 9, Kane scored his first goal of the tournament in the Wembley sunshine as England avenged previous heartbreaking defeats against Germany.
Shaw is driving forward. Harry Kane wants it played into him. He chooses Grealish instead. It's Grealish, it's Kane! England have a 2-goal lead! Harry Kane has faced so many questions, but there's no better answer than that. 5 minutes before the end of a crucial clash with Germany, Harry Kane has his first goal of the European Championships.
Kane scored again in the quarter-final, as well as the winner against Denmark in the semis, to take the Three Lions to only their 2nd ever major tournament final, to be held at the home of English football.
I know there are some of you who remember 66, Hurst, the Russian linesman, Nobby Stiles dancing in the sun. For most of us, this is a first. So let that magic soak your spine.
It wasn't to be for Kane in England, though, who lost in agonising circumstances in a penalty shootout against Italy.
Teenager, Bukayo Saka. And it's saved. And Italy are the European champions. It is going to Rome. More penalty agony in the European Championships. But this might just be the worst feeling of all.
Yeah, tough one to take for sure. Obviously, penalty shootouts are the worst way to lose. It's obviously disappointing, but we've got to hold our heads held high. We had a fantastic tournament. It hurts now. It's going to hurt for a long time, of course. But the boys should be proud of themselves. So we'll get on with it, dust ourselves down, and get ready for the next tournament.
Despite defeat, Kane's goal-scoring form continued in sparkling fashion for England. Between the Euros final and the opening game of the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, a period of 16 months, Kane had scored 13 goals, including 2 hat-tricks and competitive goals against Germany, both home and away. Some poor team form dampened some of the optimism around England's chances for winning the coveted World Cup trophy, but this didn't deter Kane's ambition.
The closer you get, it just gives you that more fire in the belly to be back and achieve what you almost just missed out on. The Euros for England was a penalty shootout, and 1 or 2 kicks away from winning one of the biggest trophies ever. I think we have to believe we can win it. I think I look back at England 10, 15 years ago, it's almost we were scared to say we wanted to win it, and I think one of the big shifts that we've made over the last 4 or 5 years with Gareth is not being afraid to say that, look, we're going to this tournament to win it because we believe we can. It would be wrong to think otherwise. What's the point of going to a World Cup and not believing that you can bring the trophy home?
Leading the line as ever, some impressive team performances pushed the Three Lions into a tough quarter-final against reigning champions France.
I think that we've got to stick on the path we've been heading. I think we've done a lot of things very well. There are things we're going to have to do better to get a result against France. But the basis of our game is good, with and without the ball, and we've got to make sure that the details are as close to perfect as we can. We're never going to get perfection, but we've got to get as close to that as we possibly can.
After conceding early, Kane had the chance to equalise from the penalty spot, and at the same time bring himself level with Wayne Rooney's England goal tally.
The collective heartbeat of the nation has just gone up a few notches. It's Harry Kane. And breathe! Harry Kane equals Rooney's record and puts England in a much better place.
History presented itself again in the game, as England won another penalty. Kane stood over the ball and on the brink of becoming England's all-time top goal scorer.
It's Kane, it's blasted over the bar, and it's penalty heartbreak for the England captain.
Kane's uncharacteristic miss broke the hearts of the nation as England were knocked out without ultimate success again.
They needed Gary Lineker, they got Chris Waddle.
Clive Tyldesley questioned that commentary line when we spoke to him.
Difficult for me to analyse my colleagues' work, but you know there was a public debate about Sam Massaface's comment about Harry Kane after the penalty miss, which, you know, whether I think he was right or wrong to say that, and that's only my opinion, is again magnified just by the size of the game and the size of the audience and the emotions that are flying around over a missed England penalty.
Despite his role in the defeat, Kane remained defiant as the leader of the group, but performed well in the game and the tournament overall.
Like I said, I'm proud of the boys. We had a great camp, a great World Cup, and like I said, it comes down to a small detail that, you know, I'll take responsibility for. So yeah, I'm not worried about the team and how it's going to affect them. I know we've got some great talent, and you know, Euros in a year and a half. So for sure it'll hurt, not just for me but for everyone involved. But that's football, that's sport.
For me, we win and lose as a team, and we've let a couple of goals in and we've missed a few chances. So he's been incredible for us and so reliable in those sorts of situations. We wouldn't be here but for the number of goals he scored for us.
Following initial speculation about Southgate's future as England manager, the FA confirmed he would stay on until Euro 2024. Kane's next chance to redeem himself and take the record outright came in March this year, as England travelled to Naples for the opening game of the next qualifying campaign.
But this is the chance to score for the 54th and record-breaking time for England. It's Kane from the penalty spot again. And there is his immortal moment. Harry Kane's 54th goal for England. And he is England's all-time record goal scorer.
It's an incredible penalty, the precise. He loves taking the side netting off. He's one of the best penalty takers in the world. That's why it was such a surprise when it happened to him in the World Cup. But you're talking about greatness. You're talking about one of the best number 9s in the world right now.
Yeah, it means everything, you know. Yeah, we're so excited to put the England shirt back on and get back out here and get the campaign started for the Euros next year. And yeah, it had to be a penalty, of course. And no, it was just, once it hit the back of the net, you know, there's so much emotion. And yeah, just huge thanks to all the players, all the staff, the fans. you know, my wife, my family back home, everyone who's helped me get to this stage. Just a magical moment.
The Lions Under the Arch team went to Wembley ahead of the Three Lions' next game to get some fan reaction on Kane's achievements.
So, talking about Harry Kane, obviously he broke England's goal scoring record, so where do you think he's going to amount to in these grades?
Yeah, I think he'll do really well. Hopefully he can push on to things like Wayne Rooney. He will push on further to things like Gary Lineker. He would like have heights with Teddy Sheringham and things like that. So yeah, hopefully he can carry on, push on. He's still quite young, he's still got it in him. He's still in his prime. So hopefully he just keeps going, keeps progressing. Hopefully it's what we need. We need someone that's going to score goals for us and hopefully get us that final and get us over the line.
I think he's definitely one of our legends, isn't he? We love him. What do you think, Freddie?
Yeah, do you think he's going to go down as one of England's best players ever?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's right up there, don't you?
I think he's very brave to take the penalty after missing the last one and taking it on his shoulders. Very, very brave. Very good.
And he scored it, importantly.
He's going to be up there with loads of England greats because he broke the scoring record for England and all that, so that's a hard nose to crack, so I think he's up there with the legends.
Yeah.
I think he's a great player. I'm not a Tottenham fan, but I love him as a guy. He's such a nice guy, and I think, you know, as long as England wins something, whether it's a World Cup or a European trophy, then I think we can then put him up with the guys in '66 that won the World Cup.
As long as he can score goals for country, I suppose that's what all the fans really want. Whether you're a Tottenham fan or not, you want it to score goals for England. You want it to give us that success.
Wayne Rooney recently wrote that he believed that Kane could become England's greatest scorer just from his debut. Even though the Three Lions have still not tasted success in the men's team since 1966, at only 29 years old, Harry Kane's role in the England story is far from over. We hope you found this episode interesting. We'd love to hear if you think Kane is one of England's greatest ever players. Check out our website and social media pages at Lions Under the Arch and let us know. Thanks very much for listening to The Lions Roar, and we'll see you next time.